welcome to my 8th video, and we're going to continue on with this popcorn container, and it's a lot of assembly right now that we're going to be doing, so let's get on with it. I'm not going to follow along as it says because the cheeks I put on, the felt cheeks, I use the fabric fusion, so it actually, the project's gonna have to sit like overnight before I can work on it once I put those on. So I'm gonna go a little bit out of order as to what her pattern actually says, but that's the only reason why. Otherwise, if you are using the because you could use the pink felt along with the pink thread if you're gonna stitch it on. You can go ahead and put those on. We're going to go ahead and add our safety eyes, and this would have been good to know as I was going through my rows to mark them along the way, but I'm going to show you how I determined where to put them. See these markers that I had showed you in the beginning. As I did the project, I could have put one of those in there to mark out where my eyes were going to be as I was doing it. It would have saved me time of having to count on my rows. But I didn't do that because, once again, I didn't read the instructions ahead of time, but I'm going to show you here how I was able to tell my rows, and this is what works for me. You know, whatever works for you is great. Anyway, the safety eyes are they're going to be the first one you want between row 29 and 30. So I counted like this. I'll get a little closer here so you can see better. But I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I just go over each bump is considered a row, and that's the easiest way. And then that's how I determine. I already have my little pins in here to mark out where I'm going to put them at. And then going up, well, the first eye you want here, which is, it's between rows 29 and 30. So I got to row 29 and I stuck my pin there. And then the second row you want between rows, the second eye you want between rows 34 and 35. So I got to 34, I stuck my pin in between both. And then counting from the bottom is the where we don't have these loops at. The loops are on the top part. and your beginning end would be over here on the bottom. It would be the on the left on the bottom. So now I'm going to show you how I insert these eyes. That's the back. That's the back. This is my eye and the other eye. Okay, just to let you know, I actually, these are 9mm, and I know that they are the 9mm because I measure them with a ruler, which you can determine from centimeters. You can measure centimeters, the eye, and it'll tell you your millimeters. If you don't have a, there is a type of ruler, like a sewing ruler, that you can get that has the actual hole sizes punched out. But I just measure it like that with a ruler. It's you know, once I decide to invest in one of those other rulers, maybe I'll use it at that point. But all I'm doing is I'm sticking it right into the holes that I marked here for myself, and I'm putting them through. I'm going to take one of the backs here, and I'm going to put it on, and I will show you better with the other one because I don't want it to lose my spot here. Okay, so you put it on, and then it's sticking through, and you just take this and you tighten it down, and it'll lock up around it. Bringing the embroidery yarn through here, and what I do is I just pull it, I leave a little end in there through where I'm going to start it at, and yes, let's see, go right up here, right next to this eyeball. And I double it so that it's dark, a little bit darker if you use only the one. If you don't double it, it's a little bit lighter. It comes up, and I prefer it darker. So, all right. So we're gonna look for the same spot over here. Down a little bit, right there. And we're going to pull it through, and then we want to go right back down inside there to make the V. And if you look there, there's the little mouth. It's going to be between our eyes, and then I'm going to place the cheeks here. And then what I do is I just tie it off back in here. And you can do that any way you prefer. I like to just tie a knot once I have it snug the way that I want it to be. And I just tie a knot in it, and this is the back, so we don't have to worry about seeing any of that. So I just take these two ends here and tie up once. And twice. And I pull that knot pretty tight. As tight as I can get it. You know, don't pull this too tight because you want that to still be flat. And then I'll just snip the embroidery thread kind of close. And remember, that's on the inside, so we're not going to see it. And we have our little face there. So now, rather than put my cheeks on, I am going to show you how we are going to cover up this top here. And I will get myself set up and be right back. So we're going to take the red yarn, and she starts from this side because she's right-handed. I'm left-handed. I'm going to start from this side. But they're basically the same on both sides. Each corner here, they both are the same. Now I'm just going to go into this first loop here, and I'm going to pick this yarn up and pull it through, and we have a tail that she says to weave in, but we're not going to weave it in. We're just going to stitch it in as we go here. And we're going to chain one here, and our chain one is going to count as a stitch going across. So we want to have a total of 48 stitches, and you will, as long as you go into each one of the stitches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this red behind here, the end, and I'm going to continue into the next stitch, well, the next row, and I'm going to do my single crochet. And if you look here, you'll see that I want to make sure that you can see it very well. But that chain that we just did, that is going to be our first stitch there. We want to make sure that we count that. So maybe I can pick it up here so that you can see it better. And if you can't see your stitches well, like this first chain that we did, you can always put one of those markers inside there to make sure that you count it. You see, that's the chain one that we did right there. So we're going to make sure that we count that as a stitch. And I'll show you. Our grab one of my stitch markers here and show you how to do this so that if it makes it easier for you to do it this way, you know that's your first stitch here. So I'm going to continue down the row here, down our rows, and I'm going to continue to hide this end in here so that we don't have to weave the end in at the end. Just continue into each row. You want to make sure you go into each row. So I want to stop here for a moment. I'm going to take this end and just as I do with hiding my ends with anything that I can, if I can do it, I will do it. I snip closely, remove my end, and we're just going to pull it back out, hide it within there. I'm going to come to the end of the top cover up that we're doing. Make sure that you have 48 stitches at the end, and it shouldn't be too bad for you to come to the right number, as long as you're going into each stitch. We did each row, we did do 48 rows, so and don't forget to count that chain 1, and I'll come back to you when I have my 48 stitches done. Okay, so I made it to the end of the top, and I still have my stitch marker in there, and I do have 48 stitches going across, and see how it's gonna kind of end like this at the end, because this is actually going to be combined with the other side, so it's not really a hole there for you to stitch into, because we're going to stitch it down the side. So I'm going to go into this spot here because we're going to fasten off. So I'm going to pull it through the hole and then pull it through our last stitch, and then tighten it. We're going to pull the other side of the yarn from the ball. We're going to make sure that it's long enough for us to weave in. So I kept us from weaving in the other end, but this end we're going to have to weave in. So you can go ahead and weave that in at your leisure. But see, the top edge now looks so nice and straight, and we don't see those little loops up on the top any longer. So that's perfect for us. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I put my little cheeks on, and I'm going to put one here right by the eye and one here right by that eye, and I'm just going to take my the fabric fusion, and I put a little dab on the back of the felt, smudge it around, and then I just set it there on top, and I do the same thing with the other one. Keeps you from having to stitch on, and this is so much easier to do it this way. So I have my cheekies on there. They are going to have to dry before I can assemble the container, because I don't want them to get messed up. So at some point I will be back with you to finish up, probably on our next video, but I just wanted to make sure you were able to see this, and I hope that you enjoyed this so far, and I'm glad that you guys are hanging in there with me and getting this done. And look how cute. Oh, it's so cute. I can't wait to get it done now. But the next episode, my next video, make sure you grab out the base that we started with, and we're going to attach that along with bringing this all together as well. And if you'd like to continue following along, please subscribe to my channel. Leave me any comments. If you have any questions, ask me in my comments. I do post information in my description to help, and I will see you next time.